The entire history of Japan in less than 15 minutes. Japan in its infancy, a land of rugged mountains, lush forests, and shimmering seas. The first human settlers arrive, braving the treacherous journey across the seas from the Asian mainland. These brave souls, known as the Jomon people, are the earliest known inhabitants of Japan. They live in harmony with nature, crafting beautiful pottery adorned with intricate designs and hunting the wild beasts that roam the land. But as the millennia pass, change is inevitable. Around 300 BC, a new wave of migrants arrives from the Korean peninsula. These newcomers, known as the Yayoi people, bring with them advanced agricultural techniques, including the cultivation of rice. With their arrival, Japan begins to undergo a profound transformation, transitioning from a hunter-gatherer society to a settled agricultural civilization. Yet, this newfound stability is not without its challenges. As tribes and clans vie for power and resources, conflicts erupt across the land. The seeds of feudalism are sown, laying the groundwork for the intricate social hierarchy that will define Japan for centuries to come. Amidst this turmoil, one figure stands out, the legendary Empress Himiko. Born in the 3rd century AD, she rises to power as the ruler of the Yamatai kingdom, a realm shrouded in mystery and myth. Himiko is said to possess magical powers, able to commune with the gods and bring prosperity to her people. Her reign is a time of peace and prosperity, a brief respite from the chaos that grips the land. But as the years pass, Himiko's kingdom fades into obscurity and Japan once again finds itself plunged into darkness. At the dawn of the first millennium, Japan is a land divided, fragmented into numerous warring states, known as the Kofun Period. These states, ruled by powerful clans, vie for supremacy, engaging in fierce battles for territory and dominance. It's an era marked by conflict and strife, as ambitious chieftains seek to carve out their own realms amidst the chaos. Amidst this turbulent backdrop, a figure emerges who will forever alter the course of Japanese history. Prince Shotoku. Born in 574 AD, Shotoku is a visionary leader who seeks to unify the fractured land under a central authority. He promotes Buddhism as a unifying force, fostering peace and stability through his governance. His 17-article constitution, written in 604 AD, lays the foundation for a centralized government and codifies the principles of justice and equality. But the dream of unity remains elusive as the struggle for power continues unabated. The centuries that follow are marked by the rise and fall of dynasties, as ambitious warlords rise to prominence, only to be toppled by their rivals. It's an age of intrigue and betrayal, where loyalty is fleeting, and alliances are forged and broken with the changing winds of fortune. Yet, amidst the chaos of war, Japan experiences a cultural renaissance. The arts flourish, as poets compose exquisite verses, and artists create breathtaking works of beauty. Buddhism spreads rapidly across the land, shaping the hearts and minds of the people with its teachings of compassion and enlightenment. In 710 AD, Japan enters a new era with the establishment of its first permanent capital at Nara. The city becomes a center of culture and learning, home to magnificent temples and grand palaces. It's a time of innovation and progress, as Japan embraces the wisdom of neighbouring civilizations and forges its own path forward. But the winds of change are ever present, and in 794 AD, the capital moves once again, this time to Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto. The Heian period sees the emergence of a sophisticated court culture characterized by elaborate rituals and refined aesthetics. It's an era of elegance and refinement, where poetry and literature flourish, and the arts reach new heights of expression. Yet, beneath the surface of this glittering facade, tensions simmer. The imperial court becomes increasingly isolated from the realities of the outside world, as powerful aristocratic families vie for influence and control. The samurai, a warrior class forged in the fires of conflict, rise to prominence, pledging their loyalty to regional lords in exchange for land and protection. In 1185 AD, the Minamoto clan emerges victorious in the Genpei War, establishing the Kamakura shogunate and ushering in a new era of military rule. Under the shogun's leadership, Japan undergoes a transformation. The samurai, once bound by duty to their feudal lords, now serve the shogunate with unwavering loyalty. They become the guardians of peace and order, enforcing the shogun's will with martial prowess and unwavering resolve. But amidst the stability of the shogunate, Japan experiences a cultural renaissance. The Zen school of Buddhism spreads rapidly, influencing every aspect of Japanese life, from art and architecture to tea ceremonies and martial arts. Monasteries become centers of learning and enlightenment, where monks devote themselves to the pursuit of spiritual awakening. Meanwhile, trade flourishes with the outside world, as Japanese merchants ply the seas in search of exotic goods and new opportunities. Ports, such as Hakata and Sakai, become bustling hubs of commerce, connecting Japan to distant lands across the seas. Yet, with prosperity comes the spectre of conflict. In 1274 and 1281, Japan faces invasion by the Mongol Empire, led by the legendary Kublai Khan. The samurai, bolstered by divine winds, known as kamikaze, repel the invaders in a display of indomitable courage and resilience. The Kamakura shogunate eventually gives way to the Ashikaga shogunate in the late 14th century, as the country is plunged into a period of instability and strife. The Onin War erupts in 1467, plunging Japan into a century of almost constant conflict and upheaval. Yet, amidst the chaos of war, Japan experiences a cultural renaissance. The arts flourish, with painters, poets, and playwrights creating enduring masterpieces that capture the beauty and complexity of the human experience. In 1485, the country takes its first tentative steps towards reunification with the rise of Oda Nobunaga, a visionary warlord who seeks to bring an end to the chaos that grips the land. His ambition and military prowess lay the groundwork for the unification of Japan under the Tokugawa shogunate, setting the stage for a new chapter in the country's history. In 1543, Japan's isolation from the outside world is shattered with the arrival of Portuguese traders on the shores of Tanegashima. These merchants bring with them not only exotic goods from distant lands, but also the transformative power of firearms. The introduction of gunpowder weapons revolutionizes warfare in Japan, forever altering the balance of power and setting the stage for dramatic changes in the years to come. Amidst the turmoil of the Sengoku period, one figure emerges who will forever alter the course of Japanese history: Oda Nobunaga. A brilliant strategist and visionary leader, Nobunaga seeks to bring an end to the chaos that grips the land and unite Japan under his rule. With cunning diplomacy and unmatched military prowess, he embarks on a campaign of conquest, laying the groundwork for the unification of Japan. Yet Nobunaga's dream remains unfulfilled, as his life is cut short by betrayal and treachery. In 1582, he is assassinated by one of his own retainers, leaving his vision of a unified Japan in jeopardy. But from the ashes of tragedy emerges another figure, equally ambitious and determined to see Nobunaga's dream realized: Toyotomi Hideyoshi. Under Hideyoshi's leadership, Japan enters a golden age of prosperity and stability. The country is united under a single banner for the first time in centuries, and peace reigns throughout the land. Hideyoshi's rule is characterized by ambitious public works projects, including the construction of magnificent castles and grand temples, and the promotion of cultural exchange with the outside world. But Hideyoshi's reign is not without its challenges. In 1592, he launches a daring invasion of Korea in an attempt to expand Japan's influence in the region. The conflict, known as the Imjin War, lasts for 7 long years, and exacts a heavy toll on both sides. Despite initial successes, the invasion ultimately ends in failure, and Japan withdraws from Korea, leaving behind a legacy of bitterness and resentment. In 1603, Japan enters a new era with the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate. Under the leadership of Tokugawa Ieyasu, the country enters a period of relative peace and stability, known as the Edo period. The capital is moved to Edo, modern-day Tokyo, and the shogunate imposes strict isolationist policies, cutting off contact with the outside world in an attempt to preserve traditional Japanese culture and values. In 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry of the United States arrives in Japan with a fleet of warships, demanding that the country open its ports to foreign trade. The arrival of Perry's black ships shocks the Japanese authorities and exposes the weaknesses of the shogunate's isolationist policies. The subsequent Treaty of Kanagawa, signed in 1854, marks the beginning of Japan's opening to the outside world. Under pressure from Western powers, the shogunate signs a series of unequal treaties that grant foreign nations extraterritorial rights and impose onerous trade terms on Japan. The influx of Western goods and ideas sparks a wave of social and cultural change as Japanese society grapples with the challenges and opportunities of modernization. Under the leadership of Emperor Meiji and his advisors, Japan embarks on a period of rapid modernization and industrialization. The country emerges victorious in the Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905, gaining international recognition and cementing its status as a regional powerhouse. However, Japan's ambitions for expansion lead to its involvement in World War I, where it fights alongside the Allied powers against the Central Powers. Despite making significant contributions to the war effort, Japan's gains are limited, and the country emerges from the conflict facing economic hardship and social unrest. The interwar period sees Japan grappling with the effects of the Great Depression and growing political instability. In 1931, Japan invades Manchuria, setting off a chain of events that leads to full-scale war with China in 1937. Japan's aggression in Asia eventually draws the country into World War II, as it allies itself with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. The bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941 sparks the Pacific War, pitting Japan against the Allied powers in a conflict that ravages the Asia-Pacific region and results in widespread death and destruction. The war culminates in Japan's defeat in 1945, following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the subsequent surrender to the Allied forces. The post-war period, known as the Japanese economic miracle, sees Japan experiencing unprecedented economic growth and development. The country rapidly rebuilds its infrastructure, expands its industrial base, and emerges as a global leader in technology, manufacturing, and finance. Throughout the latter half of the 20th century, Japan experiences continued economic prosperity, becoming the world's second largest economy by the 1980s. However, the bursting of the economic bubble in the early 1990s plunges Japan into a prolonged period of economic stagnation and deflation, known as the Lost Decade. Despite its economic challenges, Japan remains a powerhouse in innovation and technology, leading the world in fields such as robotics, automotive manufacturing, and electronics. The country also undergoes significant social and demographic changes, including an aging population, declining birth rates, and increased urbanization. And there you have it, the entire history of Japan in 15 minutes. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Chrono Tales for more content like this.